Hi, this is Kathy Quinn with Floriani. Floriani is a division of R&K Distributing, and I want to welcome you to this month's Project of the Month. This is project number 24, and it is using our brand new product, Apple Stitch. Today we're going to use our Floriani Total Control Professional. Normally we use our Floriani Embroidery Suite, but today we're going to use Total Control Professional. The tool I'm going to use is in both programs. Everything that is in your suite is in your Total Control Professional, plus there's a few more features to Total Control Professional. Now, of course, I've left mouse clicked on the Floriani Total Control icon on my desktop. Now, as I do that, the program will open. Now, I want to show you a couple of differences when this program opens on our My Floriani Today page. If this is the first time you've opened your program, you will notice a web page comes up. Now, this is our My Floriani Today page. If you have an active internet connection, this page will come up. If you do not have an active internet connection, it will merely say you don't have an internet connection. It does not affect the fact that your program will run. You can use your Floriani software whether you're online or not. But this page has a lot of good information on it. If we have a new update or upgrade, it will always tell you what's new. So here, what's new in Floriani Total Control, if we select that, it will tell us everything that was added in the last update or upgrade, or if there is another update or upgrade available. Now, the next thing I want to point out is right here it says Help Desk. If you have the Floriani Embroidery Suite, or you have purchased Total Control and were a previous owner of the suite, I want you to notice the word Help Desk. It's the same as software support. This is the same exact place. It's just called two different things. So to get to the Help Desk for any kind of software support, this is the tab you will use. Now, the next thing I do want to point out is please join the support forum. You're going to find a whole lot of answers there, and you may be able to help somebody else with an answer. This is a moderated forum. It is controlled. We have lots of very knowledgeable moderators on it. And you can also answer questions. So it's very nice because a lot of times if you have a question, it's already been answered, and probably from several different perspectives. And that is a real help. So join the forum. Now, the other thing I just want to mention is our Live with Walter Floriani webinar training. This is where you can go to sign up for the webinars, and know that now on FlorianiSoftware.com we do have some of the back webinars archived for you. So you can go watch some of the webinars that have already been shown at your leisure. And then, of course, every month we give you 5 new designs as a thank you for being a loyal Floriani software customer. I'm going to merely to get to these designs, just left mouse click on them. That will take you to the web page where they're housed, so you can download them into your computer. And this month's designs are really pretty. I hadn't looked at them yet. Those are very nice. And notice, though, that all of our designs that we have ever given away are still up here. So if you did not download them already, go get all the designs Floriani has given away since we started giving designs to our customers. Now I'm going to go ahead and left mouse click on our close button, because we are going to go ahead and get started. Oh, I'm going to actually, before I do that, I'm going to click on Apple Stitch Fabric and Designs here, because this is what we're going to be dealing with. I have Mozilla open, and that's the problem. I want to show you right here, we are going to use our new Apple Stitch products and designs. Here it is. This is our new applique stitch right here, just so you can kind of see it. And you can preview the designs, preview the fabrics, but it is a really wonderful process. You notice she's just pulling it away. So it's really nice. There is no more fear in your applique. And Floriani, this is an exclusive Floriani product, and we are the only software that has an applique stitch tool, since we're the only one with applique stitch fabric. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this down, and now I want you to look at our Floriani Total Control Professional. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the upper left hand corner, and you will see our new design icon, or I call it a new piece of paper. I'm going to left mouse click and my workspace is going to come up. I always want you to create your workspace to work for you. Now this is our workspace. This is the only workspace Floriani has, so you're always in the correct spot to do anything in our software. Now the next thing I want to point out here is our ruler bar. If you go across the top and down the left hand side, you will notice we have a ruler bar. We are in inches. Now we want to be in inches today. I want to show you, if this is the first time you've used your software or you weren't aware of how to change back and forth, I'm going to show you how simple it is to go between inches and metric. I'm going to simply put my cursor anywhere along this ruler bar and right mouse click. My options box comes up. Now I could switch to metric with a simple left mouse click or right mouse click, and I'm going to go back to inches. Now I call right mouse click for treasure. All your hidden treasure is under that right mouse click. So if you want to see what you can do with anything, when you've got it selected, right mouse click on it and see what else is available. Now I also make my grid work for me. I'm going to right mouse click on my ruler bar. I always set my grid for whatever my project or my design is that day. I'm going to come down to the words grid settings. A grid helps us keep perspective. We can use the lines to use for space, distance between objects, lettering, designs. So a grid is really important. Now I want you to first notice there is an option here that says maintain aspect ratio. I have a check mark in that because I want my box to change proportionately. When I change one number, I want the other number to change in direct proportion. Whether I have it equal proportions or I've got it offset for some reason, I have my square 1 by 2 for some reason today, I can use this to control that. If this was deselected, I would have to hand punch the numbers in both boxes. So if I don't maintain aspect ratio, just because I change one box, notice my other box did not change. But if I have maintain aspect ratio, when I change one box, the other box changes proportionately. So we are going to make sure this is selected, maintain aspect ratio, and I today want a 1-inch grid system. I want you to come to the word OK and left mouse click. Now we have a 1-inch grid system on our screen. Now we're going to look at a brand new tool today. It is in both your Embroidery Suite Pro and your Floriani Total Control Professional. It looks similar in both programs. It's blue, and it looks kind of like a blue bush. So it's up at the top of your screen next to your applique tool, which is your green bush. Now this is a very interesting tool. I'm going to left mouse click on it. Now the minute I left mouse click, I want you to notice my properties box comes up for this specific tool. Now I am going to have to, my computer screen is wider than it is tall. So you notice I've got a right hand pane with the properties in the sequence view, is my right-hand pane. Of course, we can control the size of that pane by dragging. I can make it wider or more narrow by dragging the bar in between the workspace pane and the right-hand side pane. Within the right-hand side, I have two panes. My properties pane here at the top, and I have my sequence view pane at the bottom portion. Now, sometimes you need one larger or smaller. In my case, because my computer screen has a weird proportion on it, I cannot see all of my properties box here. So I'm going to put my cursor on the top of the sequence view pane, and I want you to notice how it turns into two parallel lines with two arrows. By holding down my left mouse key, I can drag this down until I can see all the options in my properties box. I couldn't see my apply button. So you notice you can move this up and down. Sometimes I want my sequence view real tall. I want to see the whole sequence of the design. Or at the very bottom, you'll see I have a design library. Sometimes I want to see that design library tall. Now never drag it above where it says, where you see your icons here. Now if you do not see icons, you see words, I will show you how to change that back and forth. This is a new option. Now see, I've dragged my design library up tall, so it makes it easier to view what is in it. Let's pull this back down so we can work with our properties box. Now in my properties box, you notice my Applet Stitch icon and the commands icon. They are now iconized. Some people like that, some people do not. Because Floriani is a commercial program, you have control over almost every aspect of this program. There is a button or a tab called Tools up here at the top on your menu bar. It's on the top at the upper right hand side. I'm going to left mouse click on the tools, and I'm going to come to the last option, which is General Options. Now as this comes up, the first option you are interested in is right here on our main page. Now units says inches. It's easier for me to right mouse click on the ruler bar than to come here. The other thing is default thread chart. Now when you load Floriani software, we assume everybody wants to stitch with beautiful Floriani thread. But if you do stitch with another brand, you can merely left mouse click and you can pick your thread type. Okay, I stitch with beautiful Floriani polyester, so I'm going to leave it at that. Now notice it says auto match thread colors on loading. That means anytime you load a design, it's going to flip those colors to the closest match in the Floriani thread chart. And if you don't know, Floriani has 60 brand new colors with lots of new flesh tones available now at your dealer. Now that's always important to y'all. The next thing I want to point out is the digitizing. Excuse me, not digitizing. I want to go to view, excuse me. Now in the view, the first thing is highlight selection. Now yours is a pale blue unless you've never changed it. Floriani gives you the option to select the color that you would like your highlighted selection to be in your design. When I am editing a design, when I select, let's say I want to change the hair from black to brown, I would select the hair by using my select tool and selecting it. Then the hair would be a highlighted color so my eyes would know that is what you're changing. So it makes sure you realize what you've selected. Pale blue was not good for me. I am not a fond person of pink. It is not my favorite color. So I picked pink because usually I don't have pink in my designs. So it makes it very obvious when something is selected. So I'm going to stay with pink. you can pick any color. I do not recommend black or white. If you don't find a color you like, click Other and you can create your own color. Now the other thing here is Show Property Tabs as Icons. I am going to deselect that for right now, and I'm going to say OK. Notice now I don't have icons, I have words. Personal preference. So for right now, we'll go ahead and leave this as words. Now, with my Apply-Stitch tool selected, I am going to create, this tool is a shape tool. You cannot do Apply-Stitch with just a straight line. It must be a closed shape. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create my shape. And I'm just doing a series of left mouse clicks to create a shape. Now, do not try to close it exactly. You will not, one time out of a million, you'll hit Stitch Perfect. Just get close. Notice I didn't try to overlap or close my shape. I've created a shape with a series of left mouse clicks. I've created a path for my stitches to follow. Now when I right mouse click, it will create those stitches. Notice I've got my shape created. Now we're going to zoom in on this because Apply-Stitch has some features you've never seen. Now, first of all, before I zoom in, let's look at our properties box. You're going to notice you have a couple of extra things in here. First, you have a trapping line. You've never seen that before. This looks a lot like your applique box, but you've got some differences. So we have a trapping line. Now the other thing in here that I want to mention next is our density. This is the density of your satin stitch outline here, your border. It is at 0.27, and that is critical for the Apply-Stitch fabric. Apply-Stitch fabric will tear away clean. No pre-cutting, no cutting in the hoop, no trimming. It's perfect every time. It's fear-proof, goof-proof applique. Now also, we have a trapping offset. It's at 2.5 millimeters. Now, it can be a little more than that, but it cannot be less than that. Okay, and that is this line inside right here, this line right here. This is the line it's talking about. Now, let's go ahead and zoom in. My zoom tool, I'm going to left mouse click. It's on your left-hand toolbar. It looks like a magnifying glass, whether you're in the Suite or the Total Control Professional. And I'm going to zoom in because I want to show you some things about this. Now, the first thing I want you to notice is I want you to look at the line itself. Notice that we've got a placement line. So this will stitch out first. Then we will lay our fabric down and we will cover it because we'll use a square of Apply-Stitch fabric. Then it will tack it down. We're not going to mess with it. We're going to leave it like that. Then it's going to stitch down your your trapping line, excuse me, my mind just went blank. It's going to stitch down your trapping line, and then it's going to stitch out your satin stitch. And this is going to now finish the design, and then we will be able to just tear it away. Now let's go ahead and zoom out some here. You can also use to zoom up at the top of your screen. About the first third, you will see a box. This is your view or zoom box. By dropping down the arrow on the right hand side, I can zoom in or zoom out. I can fit it to screen. I can tell it to be actual size, 1-to-1. So this box allows you to look at things in different perspectives. So you get the idea of how this works. Alright, so now you can use your Apply-Stitch tool to follow any line or create your own Apply-Stitch. You can bring in a background image of artwork to digitize from the artwork if you choose to. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to take an existing applique shape and we're going to turn it into applique stitch. So we're going to get a new piece of paper. Now what I've started doing is I'm doing a series of technique classes, and this is going to be one of our technique classes. Now the first thing we're going to do before we go get a pre-done applique image is we're going to look at one of the biggest thrills of applique stitch is going to be lettering. And I'm talking about if I want to put big athletic type lettering on the back of a jacket, if I want to do some lettering on a cap but I don't want the bulk of all the stitches, I want to have a leather look lettering letters on the back of, a denim jacket. You can have so much fun with this. Well, I'm going to show you how you can use true text fonts that are in your computer to create an applique stitch design. Now, I'm going to come up to the top of left-hand corner to the word File. I'm going to left mouse click on File, and I'm going to go down to Import True Type Text, TT Text, and left mouse click. Now we're going to get our import text box. Now let me explain real quickly. Every computer has different fonts. We don't all have the same fonts on our computers because the true type fonts that are in your computer are dependent upon the programs you have loaded. Microsoft loads a certain amount if you have a Windows computer. So you have to know that you're not, just because you see it in mine or you see it in your girlfriend's doesn't mean you have those exact fonts. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type in an F for Floriani. Now that's the text I want to come up on screen. Now under font style, I have a browse box. Now there is a little box here with 3 dots at the end of the font. It says Font Arial, and then it has a box with 3 dots in it. This is called a browse box. So I'm going to left mouse click on it, and it's going to bring up a list of every true type font that is in my computer. Now realize you're going to see some things in my computer that you won't see in your computer, and I have a whole lot of them, and I have a lot of Hebrew fonts, so it takes it a little while to come up on my screen. So you can scroll down in here and look for a font to use. Now I'm going to go and I'm just going to get something that looks kind of blocky because I want a blocky font for this. And I think I'm going to go with, I don't know. I'm going to go with Bookman Old Style right there. Now I am also going to select bold. I want it to be broader. With that, I'm going to say OK. Now notice it now says Text F, Font, Bookman Old Style. I'm going to say OK. Now there is that F. Now it comes up at 1/2 inch tall. Now I know that because I use the software. How would you know that? Look at your 1-inch square. It sure helps you keep perspective, doesn't it? Now you can make this larger. I'm going to grab the right hand corner handle and I get a diagonal arrow. By holding down my left mouse key, I can drag this larger. But I actually want a specific size on this. So instead of me trying to drag it till I like it, I'm going to come into my properties box. It tells me, Kathy, you are working with an piece of artwork. So I already know what's going on. Now it tells me I can transform this artwork. That's commercial for resize. They have to transform. We're going to left mouse click on transform. Now notice it gives me my height and width. I want this letter to be 3 inches tall. Now I will tell you with applique stitch and true type fonts, you want it to be 2.5, 3 inches tall. Now I'm going to apply this. Now let's fit to screen. We've already talked about our little zoom or view box up here at the top. Let's drop down our arrow with a left mouse click and pick the words to fit. Now there I have a 3-inch tall letter F for Floriani. I have the Bookman style. Now this is artwork, so it won't stitch out. It's a visual at this point. But now in Floriani, remember I told you when you've got something selected, if you want to know what else you can do, right mouse click on it. And here's my treasure menu. Now what I want to do is I want to come down to the words convert to. I want to convert this artwork to, I could do it to a run, a satin, a steel, complex fill. I could make it a cross stitch, an applique. I'm going to make it an applique stitch. Left mouse click on that option. And that quickly I have created an applique stitch piece of artwork. Now, with it done, it has created my, if I zoom in, it has created my placement line, my tack down line. It has also done my safety stitch, and it has gone ahead and finished. And now I could tear away my applique stitch fabric. We're going to work with this just a little bit because I want to talk to you about something. I want you to look at your sequence view. That is on the bottom right-hand side of your right-hand pane. Notice it says sequence view. Now the first thing it says is all items. Well, we happen to just have one item up, and it is our F, and you notice it looks like an F, and it says Floriani polyester color 137, and it's got 3,788 stitches in it. Now if I want to see this little plus, I'm going to click, left mouse click on the plus sign, and it dropped down and it tells me I have an applique stitch. We have a little bit of a challenge here because if you have a home machine, I've got a Bernina 730, a home machine, and all of these are going to stitch out in the same color. My machine won't stop unless I change the color. So we've got a little bit of a challenge. Now I do know if there's a stop built in, a brother will stop. But to be on the safe side, let's work with this and make this, we're still going to have an applique stitch design, but we are going to be able to change the colors and work with it and do some fun stuff. So what I want you to do is select this. Now to select, you have two ways. I can come up to the upper left-hand corner, the left-hand toolbar, the upper left-hand tool, which is my select tool. It's red in Floriani Total Control, it's blue in the Floriani Suite. I am going to left mouse click on that. Notice it's activated, it's got that orange aura, and I can left mouse click on my design. Now notice my highlight color. It's garish pink because I selected pink when we went to properties, to our tools and our properties of our program. So our general options, and then I went in and changed it under the view menu. So it will be whatever color you choose. Now it's all one. Now the other way I can select, and this is my favorite way to deal with designs and pieces in design. I can always select anything in my sequence view by merely left mouse clicking on it. If I left mouse click on this, well, of course I'm clicking where I'll change the name. If I left mouse click on it, it highlights all by itself. So I can highlight it by left mouse clicking on it. So this is really nice if you have an object that has several things in it. I have a design, it's a little girl with hair, eyes, nose, mouth, and I want to change the color of her lips. Sometimes it's very difficult to select those lips, but not if I come into my sequence view. Now with this selected, I want you again to right mouse click on it, right mouse click for treasure, and I want to break up the path. Left mouse click. Now that quickly it broke up the path. Now I want you to see, I have the whole design if I select right next to the F. But if I select the first run, that is my placement line. So it's selected just your placement line. And let's zoom in so we can kind of see this happening. See how now I have a little blue placement, a little pink placement line? Now, if I select the second run, there is my tack down line. Now my third run is my safety stitch, my applique stitch tack down in my inside. And then my last stitch is my applique stitch satin stitch border. So you can see I have 4 objects within one color. Well, if I need my machine to stop because I've changed colors, then I'm going to have to change that. So easily in my sequence view, I'm going to leave the first one as blue, and notice that these colors are going to relate to these right here. So if I've got Floriani color number 1, it's this color number 1 right here. So now I'm going to leave the first run stitch number 1. I'm going to select by clicking on it the second one, and I'm going to come to color number 2, put my cursor on it, and right mouse click. So now I've changed color number 2. Excuse me. I'm going to right mouse click on color number 2. I right mouse click too long in mine. Right mouse click, and I've changed the second run to color number 2. So let's move on down, and I'm going to go to color number 3. Now, interesting, I don't really need to change this one, because what's going to happen, I'm going to come up here to view at the top of the screen. I'm going to go to view, and I'm going to go to slow redraw. Now, slow redraw is a wonderful function. I'm going to slow it down because I want it to go really slow, and I want you to see what's happening. Now, what we're going to do is, let's fit this to screen better, because now, there we go. I'm going to simulate how this will stitch. Now, the first thing that's going to happen is it's putting down my placement line in color number 1. Make it a little bit faster here. Okay, now it's putting down my tack down line in color number 2, which is red. Now it's going to put in my safety stitch, and now it's going to finish. See, my safety stitch and finish can be the same color, because I don't need to do anything with the fabric. All I need is for the machine to stop between color 1 and color 2. That's really all you need. You don't need to change each and every color. I need it to stop after color number 1. So technically, I could have left the last 3 colors all the same. Do you understand the process? We just need a placement line and the machine stop. Then it can do everything else at once, because we're not going to mess with that fabric till we're totally, completely finished. Then we're going to tear it away. So you can see how we do this. Now, I do want to work, and to get rid of this, I'm going to right mouse click on my screen, and it will turn off my slow redraw. I learned that from Nancy Ruffley, who actually writes all my projects out for me. The beautiful step-by-step instructions you've seen are done by Nancy Ruffley, and she has a wonderful website, myembroiderysoftware.com, that has all kinds of software lessons on it that you can go get. They're wonderful. Okay, now this line in here, this tack down line, the safety stitch, we want it to be, it is a single run, and I'm going to select it, and I've got it selected. Now notice it's a standard. I always want it, and this is me personally, because home machines are a little different from commercial machines. They don't always when you tie on and tie off, we want to make sure that thread is caught well, because without this safety stitch, there's nothing that's going to hold your applique stitch fabric in place. So we want this safety stitch. I want it to be at the very least a 2-ply. But for this big letter, I want a bean stitch because I want a specific look. So I'm going to select bean, which is a triple stitch. Notice it tells you bean repeats. You can tell it now in the Floriani Total Control. In the suite, it's going to be a regular triple stitch. But I can tell it to repeat more in our Floriani Total Control Professional. Now remember, if I don't apply it, it's not real. It's not a bean stitch until you apply it. Now this is going to go over itself 3 times, and it's going to look very bold. Well, I want it to look bold because in the case of this specific letter, maybe my high school has 3 colors. My granddaughter, her high school is purple, black, and silver. So what I want is I'm going to use black applique stitch fabric. I'm going to use purple on my applique stitch here. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pick purple, which is number 8. I'm going to right mouse click on it. So now that is purple, but the inside run, I want that to be silver. Well, shoot, I don't have any silver. So I'm going to left mouse click. Okay, I'm going to left mouse click on any color I'm not using. And it's going to bring up my thread chart. And of course, if you wanted to use a different thread, you could. Well, I'm going to use Floriani Metallic. So I'm going to select the metallic thread chart, and I want the light silver, and so I'm going to say OK. So now I'm going to stitch out where this light silver, it's going to be a different color and it's going to stand out from that black. So I'm going to have my purple, black, and silver. So you have a lot of flexibility within applique stitch. Now we have done this as a technique, and I wanted to show you how to come from a letter and create your applique stitch. Now we're going to go and use an existing applique design to create the motif for this month's project of the month. Now, of course, you can put these letters on anything you want. Let's get a new piece of paper. Now, up on your top toolbar, in the Embroidery Suite Pro, it's at the very end of your top toolbar. It looks like a green patch. And in the Floriani Total Control Professional, it looks like a book with a green patch on it. This is our applique shapes. It's called the same in both programs. It's your applique shape. Our applique shape icons, and we are going to select our heart by left mouse clicking on it. Now the heart has come in, and it has come in as an applique. So what we're going to need to do is we are going to need to convert this to an applique stitch. Now this heart is from the Floriani software itself. We're going to right mouse click, and I'm going to convert this to an applique stitch. So now it's got our trapping line, it has our placement line. Notice it has changed in our properties box to our applique stitch. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to do a little motif for the back of a child's denim jacket is what I created. So I need some more hearts. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to copy, right mouse click, paste. Now I want to use my rotate icon. Now you'll notice up here at the top I have 2 green circles with arrows on them. These are our rotate icons. In your Embroidery Suite Pro, you have the same icons. They happen to be on the left-hand toolbar, and they're blue instead of green. Now this will rotate right or left. We are going to rotate left. Now, with this rotated left, I'm going to put my cursor on the black X, and I'm going to move this over. Now, I am going to fit it to screen with our little zoom. Now, I want to line the edges of these up. So notice at the upper right-hand corner, there's a circle. This is our rotate control point. Now notice I'm going to hold down when it gets that little symbol around it with the horseshoe with the arrows on the end of it. I want you to hold down your left mouse key and rotate it. And what I'm trying to do is I want these to line up next to each other where they're rotated just perfect here. And I'm going to, now that I think I've got them about right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down my control key and use my arrow keys to kind of move this into position. Now I want my points to be even, and I'll show you that. But I need a little space in between them. I don't want them kissing each other. I need some space. I'm going to go ahead and use my zoom tool and zoom in. And see down here how I have my points? I just want to make sure they're about at the same place. So I can use my arrow keys to kind of nudge this, and that's perfect. That's how I want that heart. So let me fit it back to screen. Now I want the center heart to stitch first. I want my left-hand side heart to stitch second. And now I want my right-hand side heart. I'm going to add another heart in. So I created this one first because the order you digitize in is the order it will stitch in. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste from this heart now. So I've got heart number 1, heart number 2, right mouse click, copy, right mouse click, paste. Now I'm going to use my flip icons. I'm going to flip horizontal. You have these in both programs. It's just in your suite. They're on the left-hand toolbar. Now that I have flipped this, I'm just going to move it over. Now, I could move it with my arrow keys. You know, we could use our arrow keys to arrow over, or we could pull it over and adjust it. It's personal preference. However you want to do it is fine. You could move it faster if you grabbed that X and moved it over. But I know when I move that X over, I'm going to have to re-deal with the rotation and everything. So this is fine with me. But again, it's personal preference. And so I could, as you know, I'll just go ahead and do it so you can see I could pull this over. Okay, but once I pull it over, it's not going to necessarily stay on the same line. So I'm going to want to try to line it up just like I lined the other one up. And you can. You know, it's not that big a deal. Okay, so now we look pretty even. We look like we've got about the same amount of space between them. And what I'm most concerned with is I just want to make sure my points are good. I think we're doing really, really good here. There we go. So I think we are fine with this. There we go. Now we've got the 3 hearts. Now we've got a couple of things in here. The first thing is this is almost 9 inches wide. Well, that's fine if you've got a hoop that will allow you to stitch 9 inches wide. I'm going to change this all. I'm going to select the whole thing. Again, I could pick it from all items right here. And I'm going to transform. We're going to resize this. And I'm going to tell it I don't want it any wider than 7 inches. So I'm going to apply that to this, and I've got that 7 inches wide. So you can kind of adjust it for your size hoop. It is now a little less than 4 inches tall, and it's about 7 inches wide. So I'm happy with that. Now notice I clicked on my Transform tab. I'm going to come back across and go to my Applique tab. Now we changed these icons into words. Remember when we went to Tools, General Options. If you prefer the icons, you can go back into Tools, General Options, View, and change them back to icons. Now, with this done, I have got 3 apple-stitch hearts. Well, I need to break up those paths, don't I? Because if I have a home machine, it's not going to stop, and I want to be a little creative with these hearts, and in order to do that, I've got to break up the paths. So I'm going to select all items, right mouse click. I'm going to come in here and break up the path. I'm going to have to do it each individual at a time. Right mouse click, break up path. Come get your next heart. Right mouse click, break up the path. And I'm going to have to go grab my 3rd heart here. And right mouse click, break up the path. So now we have broken up the path on all 3 hearts. Now that we have broken up paths, we're first, before we decide color and everything, we're going to come in here and at our 3rd run in each one, because remember, this is my safety stitch in here. So I've grabbed this stitch, and where we changed it to a bean stitch on our letter F, we're going to get a little more creative here. Remember, if you have a run stitch, you have lots of options. I can change it to a 2-ply, a bean, a motif. I'm going to change this to a motif. All I need is a safety hold to hold down in there. It doesn't have to be a straight stitch. So with it as a motif, I'm going to come into the patterns and I'm going to pick pattern 131. It looks like little hearts. I'm going to apply that pattern. So now my safety stitch is a pretty decorative stitch. I'm going to come to my next safety stitch in heart number 2. And I'm going to change that to a motif, but I'm going to leave it as pattern 100. Apply. And I'm going to come to my 3rd, and I'm going to change that to a motif, pattern 100. And remember, if you do not apply, it does not happen. So now I've got 3 apple-stitch hearts, but instead of using a boring run stitch, I used one of our pretty motifs to dress that up. Now how I did this jacket is the middle heart was white apple-stitch fabric, and I used red on the outside and the safety stitch. I used red apple-stitch fabrics on hearts 2 and 3, right and left, and I used white as my safety stitch and my apple stitch to contrast. So we are going to need to take care of that. Well, the first problem I'm going to have is if I make a white anything on this screen, I'm not going to be able to see it because the screen happens to be white. So I want you to come down into your lower right-hand corner of your screen, and you have an icon here that looks like an old-fashioned computer screen. Left mouse click on it. Now I can change my background color. I'm going to change it to gray. Now when I change this and say OK, that will stay. If I close my software and open it back up, this is commercial software, you're in full control. If you don't like a white screen, you can change it to any color you want, and every time you open your screen it will be on that color till you change it again. Same thing with your metric, inches, your grid system. When you change it, it's going to hold that until you change it to something else. Now with these in here, the first heart's going to be white. Now remember, we're going to have to change where we need a placement line. I'm going to leave that placement line. I'm going to get it, and I'm going to make my placement line the Floriani color number 1. Because remember, you're changing the thread on your machine. Now if I have a 6 or a 10 needle, I'm going to do this a little different, but we're going to just go with this. I'm going to change that to color number 1. So I know this is going to be 1, and the next 3 colors are going to be the same. All I care about is that it stops after color number 1. So now that I have that, I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to get my, right here, I'm going to grab this. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm not going to grab all of it. I'm going to get my tack down. I'm going to get my safety stitch and my applique stitch. Do you see I selected one? Now what I did is I left mouse clicked. Now I'm going to hold my control key down and select my run and my applique stitch by left mouse clicking. So as I hold my control key down, it adds colors to my selection. With those done, I am going to change them to color number 2. Put your cursor on the number 2 color and right mouse click. So now I've got a tack down, a placement stitch, and now I have the rest of my heart finishing with the red. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take color number 3 and I'm going to left mouse click on color number 3. I'm going to let go of my selection. Nothing is selected. Left mouse click on color number 3 and I'm going to change it to color 800, which I know is Floriani white. Or I could have clicked on a color. So you don't have to know the color number. You can just click on a color and change it to that color. And see, as I click on colors down here in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see 800 is white, 801 is ice cap. So you can change it. And whatever is in this box at the bottom left-hand corner is what's going to change to. So I think I'm going to go to ice cap actually, and I'm going to say OK. So now color number 3 has changed to ice cap. We're going to move to our next heart. Okay, now the first one, the run stitch, I want it to be color number 1. Right mouse click on color 1. Now colors, the rest of them, the tack down, hold down your control key, the safety stitch, and the applique stitch, I want them to be color number 3. So right mouse click on color number 3. Okay, so I have now changed that heart. Come on down to your last heart, the first run stitch, which is your placement line. Right mouse click on color number 1. Now go ahead and left mouse click on your tack down line, holding down your control key. Now your safety stitch and your applique stitch. I've selected them all. Right mouse click on color number 3. So how our design is going to stitch. View, slow redraw. What's going to happen? We are first going to get the placement line. Then our machine was going to stop, remember? Because we changed the color. Now it's doing the tack down. We're going to lay down. Let me back up a little bit. I just love this slow redraw because I have all these options. I can back up some. Back up. There we go. And I can finish it back off. One stitch at a time if I want to. Okay, once this finishes, what you're going to do is you're going to lay your piece of applique stitch fabric. It's going to be a piece of white in my example. I'm going to lay it bigger than this placement line. Once I do that, I'm going to let it finish. It's going to tack it down. It's going to put in our pretty stitch. It's going to do our applique stitch around the edge. So now what it's doing is it is finishing my first one. When this finishes, when it gets the last part of this done, I'm going to stop the machine. The machine, of course, we're going to change color, so the machine's going to stop itself. I'm going to tear away my white applique stitch piece, and it's going to be perfect. So now what's going to happen is my second heart is going to stitch down, put my fabric down, and we're going to complete the process. So you can see what's going to happen. When we finish number 2, I'm going to tear away the red applique stitch fabric, and now I'm going to let it put down the placement line for number 3, lay my applique stitch fabric, and finish it off. So that is your applique stitch design with beautiful decorative stitches on the inside. Just think of the possibilities you've got with applique stitch. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. We are going to do the construction portion next, and I thank you for coming to Floriani's Project of the Month.